today I'm going to be talking about socialism. I'm sure some of you have heard the term, but not all of you might know what it's about. So I'm going to try to explain what it is and what it would do to America. So, socialism is any of various economic and political theories advocating collective or governmental ownership and administration of the means of production and distribution of goods. Many people in America believe that socialism is a good thing and that it would help America. According to the 2019 annual report on U.S. attitudes towards socialism, 70% of millennials say that they would vote socialist. But do they really know what socialism is and if it works? According to PragerU, socialism is when the government has complete control over everything. They get to decide what you can have, how much of it you can have, and what you will pay for it. Although most Americans age 35 and under trust themselves more than the community or government, most of them want the government to be in complete control over every aspect of their life. Still, many of them say socialist countries are good. Let's look at Venezuela, then, one of the most recent socialist countries. Venezuela was one of the most prosperous countries in South America before Hugo Chavez was elected. His motto was Esperanza y Cambio, or in English, hope and change. Venezuelan native now living in America, Debbie D'Souza, said, "Once there was a South American country with a promising future, but now all that promise is gone. I can tell you what happened in one word: socialism. And wrongs would be righted if they, the Venezuelans, elected him, Hugo Chavez. And they did, to their deepest regret. Venezuelans saw things changing, but not hope. Once Hugo Chavez and his successors were elected, they confiscated all the money until there was no more to confiscate. Everything from bread to toilet paper became scarce and rare. Airlines refused to fly into Venezuela. The free press was taken away, and much more. An astonishing 75% of Venezuelan adults lost an average of 19 pounds in 2019, which has been affectionately dubbed the Maduro diet after Chavez's successor. At the time when Chavez was elected, around 2 million people, about the population of Nebraska, fled Venezuela, and many tried to send their money out of their beloved country. Hugo Chavez made himself his own reality TV show where he would randomly burst into song and gained notoriety among American celebrities despite ruining his country. He kept the rich extraordinarily rich while the middle and lower caste became penniless and destitute. Today, a meal in Venezuela might consist of rats. D'Souza says, "Take heed, America." We see the same story in every true socialist country. Brazil, Gaza, Zimbabwe, Nicaragua, Cuba, they all have the same horror stories. Felipe Murat from Brazil says that truthfully, the damage has been so extensive it may take decades for the country to recover. But if we do, it won't be socialism that saves us. American millennials, take note. More than 1 million people have died due to communism and socialism, not to mention the people currently living in concentration camps and others in squalor. We know that socialism has not worked in any other country in the history of time, but many people still believe it will work in America. They say that capitalism, the current economic system in place in America, makes people selfish, and socialism makes people selfless. We've all heard the term capitalism is built off of human greed, and socialism is built off of human need. AOC, or Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, described capitalism as this: Capitalism is, to me, an ideology of capital. The most important thing is the concentration of capital, and it means that we seek and prioritize profit and the accumulation of money above all else. And we seek it at any human and environmental cost. But this simply is not true. Yes, there are selfish capitalists, but most, if not all, socialists are even more selfish. As Steve Crowder, a political commentator, said, "What's more greedy than wanting to take from someone something else you haven't earned?" This goes directly against the Bible. Philippians 2:3-4 says, "Do nothing from selfishness or empty conceit, but with humility of mind regard one another as more important than yourselves. Do not merely look out for your own personal interests, but also for the interests of others." If you still don't understand, here's an analogy. Capitalism is when a child cleans the dishes and the parent gives them a lollipop. Then the parent teaches the child to say thank you. The other child who is watching TV sees their sibling with a lollipop and decides to fold the laundry for an ice cream cone. The cycle continues as the children compete for the best treats, yet still remain thankful for what they have earned because they have been taught well. Socialism is when one child does the dishes, then the sibling who was watching TV gets up and demands the lollipop their sibling earned. The parent then splits the lollipop in half, giving both children equal amounts of candy for unequal amounts of work. And the parent teaches the children to ask, "What more can I have for the least amount of work?" And eventually to say, "You must give me a lollipop because it is my right." Then, after a while, the parent will decide to keep 3/4 of the lollipop for themselves and then split the last quarter between the two children. Dennis Prager said it best: "Socialism teaches people to demand more, capitalism teaches people to work more." Still others say that democratic socialism is better than simply socialism. But putting the word democratic before the word socialism does not make it any more or less violent, says Steve Crowder. He also once said about capitalism versus socialism, capitalism can only truly occur through voluntary transaction. Socialism can only occur at gunpoint. If you elect a socialist, that does not mean they won't take away your rights, property, money, and food. Socialist leaders like Hugo Chavez and Lula da Silva were elected, and the latter portrayed himself as cool and hip, giving himself the nickname Little Lula Peace and Love, before destroying Brazil. Capitalism leads to economic democracy. Socialism leads to economic dictatorship of the elite. Always and anywhere, so beware of what you ask for, you just might get it, said Andy Putzer, author of The Comeback for Capitalism. He also said that capitalism is a form of democracy if you take time to think about it. Consumers vote on products that they like with every dollar they spend. That's why businesses and restaurants compete to have the best products, prices, and marketing and staff. With democratic socialism, you vote on who you would like to ruin your country. It's happened before. We can safely say that socialism will not benefit America, which has been prospering in a capitalist democracy for 200 years. One only needs to take time to learn what socialism is and how it has helped other countries. So I hope that was a good overview of what socialism is and what it has done for a few countries and why we shouldn't have it here in America. But I hope that you learned something from this video and that you never stop learning. Bye!